Just to make this clear, we're debating theology. I'm taking an atheist position. You're taking a theist position.
Yeah, I guess. Why not?
Okay, can you state your premise for me?
Yeah, sure. I guess there's rational. I guess there's justifications to get to a personal creator that would be. I want to clarify on this. First, that my mic cuts out a lot, so I'm gonna
Okay.
have to go and change my voice. I'm gonna have to go into my voice settings and put back my microphone for some reason. And then second,
Alright, it's fine.
I don't accept theism as rationally justified. I said I would
Okay.
I like hearing rejections, and so I don't know if you would have a rejection. So my rejections are very esoteric. So let's
Well, okay. Well, if you don't
yeah.
if you
So
don't
I'm just
necessarily hang on a second. If you wouldn't necessarily agree with theism, then
yeah.
alright, cool.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with it, but I mean, we wanted to debate, and I said I was agnostic, but I'd like to hear rejections. So I argued
Okay.
as a devil's advocate.
Okay.
Right.
Cool. All right. If you want, after this debate, we can also do an atheist versus a agnostic position. I don't mind.
I okay. I mean, I don't.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, that's only if you want to.
Yeah, sure. Well, all right. So I guess I'm just gonna run the basic argument on you. I mean,
Okay.
I'm sure you're familiar with Kalam, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So why is it the case that well, I guess I'll just run through the argument. And I'm not going to run Kalam in particular. I'm just going to run this Aquinas second way. So it seems to be the case that for every cause there's a preceding cause, right? So is it the case that there's an infinite regress or an uncaused causative?
Okay. So what do you think that's like? Are you saying that the uncaused causative would necessarily be God?
I mean, it seems to be that it would define out to be what we would understand as a god. Yeah.
Well, actually, I would say that that's I wouldn't call it a false dichotomy in a sense, but
Mhm.
saying that you would either
It's
accept God as
it's an
the
entailment,
unmoved
right?
what?
It's an entailment, right? Like
Hang on
there's
a second.
if you accept
Hold on. Okay,
X,
keep on.
you would accept Y and Z, right? It's an entailment. So if you accept an uncaused causer, well, it seems to be the case that you accept an immaterial, non-temporal, independent cause, sir, right? And that
Okay,
seems to
well,
be
okay, hang on a second. Hold on. So I would
Mhm.
just go on as to say that I would say that that's a false dichotomy.
Okay, so how is it a false dichotomy?
Okay, do you know what a white hole is?
A white hole?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not familiar. Is that some term in physics?
Yeah, okay. All right, so you have say for instance you have a black hole, right? This black
Sure.
hole absorbs some finite amount of something, right? Um
Okay.
okay, yeah. And then at the middle of this hang on a second. And then at the middle of this black hole, let me go get this paper that I was reading about it.
Okay.
Yeah. So inside of the middle of this, what's it called? This black hole, right? There would
Mhm.
be this white hole, right? It's the complete opposite of a black hole, which
Is that producing
um
matter?
yes, it spits it out. Basically, whatever
I
comes
don't.
in. Wait, hang on a second. Whatever comes into this, say for instance, black hole would go out through the white hole.
Um, I don't. Okay. So, what are you demonstrating right now?
Okay. Okay. I'm trying to tell you, right,
You're
that
using an analogy, right?
no, this is not an analogy. I'm trying to
Oh,
tell you. I'm trying to tell you, right,
that
that hang on a second. If you're making an assumption based off of some unmoved mover, that
it's
that
not an assumption. I just told
it's
you a logical
it's not an
entailment is not an
assumption.
assumption. Yeah, you think logical entailments are assumptions?
Wait. Hang on a second. Right? Don't you think that it would logically follow that we could have another explanation for the cause of our universe other than a creator?
No,
Why?
because it would be an entailment. Do you know what an entailment is?
Okay.
Okay,
Elaborate.
so
What's an
maybe
entailment, Jacob?
an
What is an entailment?
entailment, yeah. So an entailment would just simply to say that if I said that mental states exist, right? An entailment would be that the mind exists, right? For mental states require a mind. So it just seems to be the case that it's an elaboration on a premise. What necessarily has to be the case, right? It would be like if P then Q, right? P then Q. That's all it is. It's a modus tollens, right?
Mhm.
Or a modus ponens.
Okay.
But yeah, so when I say that it seems to be the case that let's follow the logic, right? So now we accept the premise of an uncaused causer. Well, an uncaused causer, since it's ontologically prior to material, would be immaterial, right? By its negation. Would also be by its negation, since time is the change of matter, it'd be non-temporal. So it'd also be
Okay, and
the
I'm telling.
case.
Hang on a second. I'm telling you this
Can
like
I
whole
finish?
cosmological.
Can I finish?
I mean, I already understand what you're like
Okay,
getting at.
so tell me, why is it a false dichotomy?
I already explained to you. You can't make the assumption
No, you didn't
that. Hey, wait,
explain
no,
to
no, no,
me.
no, 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 no. Hang on a second. I'm already telling you that
Uh-huh.
if you're making the assumption there
Is it, guys, is
cannot
he lagging
be
for you
an
too?
infinite regression inside of inside of this cause, right?
I
That
don't understand
you're making
why would
an
an uncaused causer
assumption
entail an infinite
that
regress?
there has to be a creator.
No, that's not. It's
Hello?
what I'm saying
Hey, wait,
is
no, hang on a second. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. Like an uncaused causer, right? Okay, hold on. You asked me to explain what's a false
I didn't say
dichotomy. Let
anything.
me explain what's a false
I didn't say
dichotomy.
why I'm not over speaking you,
Okay,
man.
so you have
Relax.
two options inside of this. You were literally no, you were getting at talking, right?
What?
Right. So, I'm trying to tell you
Maybe he's
that you
lagging.
have. Hold on. So you have. Am I lagging? Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, you're
Is
lagging.
okay, I
Hello.
just want to clarify, Pack. Is this guy lagging? Because it's really bad on my end, and it could just
Yeah,
be
he's lagging.
yeah. So
Okay,
maybe he's
hold
just
on.
like yeah, like he was like saying hold on, and I wasn't like saying anything.
Okay, is this better? Is this better?
I mean yeah, it's good right now. I don't know if you're gonna start lagging, but it's good now.
All right, is this better? Is this better?
I guess yeah, man. Go
Okay,
on.
cool. All
Okay.
right, so okay, so before like this whole lagging thing happened, you wanted
Yeah,
me to explain why it's a
false
false
dichotomy.
dichotomy?
Do you know what a false dichotomy is?
Mm,
Can you
I
explain to me
mean,
what false dichotomy, like just to find it out, because I don't think you understand a
yeah,
false
okay. So
dichotomy.
I would say that like a false dichotomy is you have two like say for instance you have two choices, but there can be a third.
Yeah, perfect. So where's the third option?
Okay. All right. So what I'm saying is that this third option could be like a white hole, or this third option could be. Do you know what what's it called? The
I don't
spring
understand. I don't understand. It would be the case that there is a beginning or there is no beginning. How would that be a false dichotomy?
Wait. No. You're making the false dichotomy, right? That you either have like an infinite regression or you have an ultimate creator for our
Yeah.
universe.
Yeah, that's not a
Okay?
false dichotomy
Yes, it is.
because it is the case that there's an uncaused causer that would
Hang
be
on.
preceding the
Wait.
universe.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. You're trying to say like that it's like an unmoved mover, right? Are you saying that this would be like
Well,
an interpersonal like creator?
I'm saying that it would have to have a will, surely, right?
It would have to have a will. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
What
a
do you
white
think a
hole
will
doesn't have a
is?
will. A white hole doesn't have a
Yeah, that's
will.
because a white hole has a causal relation, right? It's not dependent. I mean, it's dependent. It's contingent.
Okay.
But it doesn't seem to be the case that when we talk about an uncaused causer, right? You wouldn't say it's dependent on anything because by definition it's not dependent. So it acts in itself. That's what we understand it to be will. So that would be
Okay.
personal.
Okay. Do you know
How yeah.
what? Continue.
Oh, well, my point was just to say that it seems to be the case that if it acts independent of material or any causal relation, then that's what we referred to as a will. I was presuming, right? So yeah, that would
Okay.
be something
Define will.
personal. A will? Well, it seems to be the
Mhm.
case that a will, because that's what most people define will as the action taken by something not being caused in itself, right? When we talk about free will, right? It seems to be the case that we're talking about things that don't have impacts on choices. So this uncaused causer had no impact upon itself. It only chose itself by itself, right? By the thing in itself chose because there's no causal relation. It's an independent object, an independent abstract object. So how is it the case that it doesn't have a will?
Wait. Hold on. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm saying that like a white hole doesn't have a will. It
Yeah,
literally
I agree.
okay, okay, cool, right? So if a white hole doesn't have a will,
Yeah.
right, then it's a personal creator.
I'm not. We're not saying this is a white hole. I don't understand the argument.
Okay.
A
You
white
asked
hole
me to
exists in the
elaborate.
universe, and I'm talking about the
You
cause to all material. Seems to be the case, right? So I'm talking about
okay,
something that's
cool.
ontologically prior to these things. So
All right,
would it be
all
the
right.
case that's influenced by anything?
Okay, hold on. Okay, cool. If you're trying to say this, like, what's it called? Okay, yeah, okay. Oh, my bad. I drew a blank. All right.
Yeah, that's fine. Just
Yeah, all right,
take a
cool.
deep breath. All right.
Okay, whatever. Right. So, in saying that, like, what's it called? That you would
Mhm.
have like, okay, I just lost my train of thought. My
That's
bad.
fine, man.
My bad. Okay, where was I? Okay, we
You
were,
were talking about white holes and
yeah,
talking about
okay.
will. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. We can like get off the topic of will. That doesn't serve any relevance.
Well, the point is that if an uncaused causer has will, then we've just defined it as personal because that has a human attribute, right? That's what we define, or it has a personhood attribute, right? That's how you define personal, right? It has an attribute that similar to us. So usually it would be the case that if you're saying an uncaused causer, it acted by itself. It seems to be the case that you're polluting or you're entailing some will, right? That because of it didn't engage in causal, or it wasn't engaged in causal relations by itself, but it caused causal relations. That's the whole point, right? So when I say that, it seems to demonstrate the necessity to like a will or something like that. That's what it seems to entail. So you can accept that there isn't. So I guess it would just be the entailment of an uncaused causer. So I just don't understand the problem here.
Oh, okay, cool. Right. So, then I'll like stop talking about white holes, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what inflation theory is in terms of
Um,
like
it's like the
in terms
crunch
of our
and the
universe? Yeah.
it's the reverse of the crunch, right? That it came from one like mass particle and then it like expanded out, right? Is that what we're referring to? And then like Planck laws were instituted or something like that. I that's all. I don't know too much about
Hang on a second.
physics.
All right. Oh, my bad. I meant the crunch.
Oh, you okay? Then you're not inflation, but yeah, I'm familiar with the crunch.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you're familiar with like how the universe would expand and then come back together and then
Yeah, it would come
expand.
down to what was it called? An S. It starts with an S. I forget what it's called. It's like referring to the one particle that everything expanded from. But yeah,
Yeah. Cool. Okay. All right. Do you think that like this crunch would have a will?
no, because it's being caused. I thought
Mm,
people would accept the idea that that has a cause, right? I mean, this is like a basic law in physics, right? That it seems to be the case that things have causes. I don't
okay.
like
Cool.
yeah. So the crunch would necessarily need a cause, but the problem is that we need to talk about something that is an uncaused causer because, or you're just going to entail an infinite regress. But an infinite regress would be problematic because we would never.
What you cut out for me?
Yeah, as I said, my like thing cuts out. So it would just invoke Arrow's paradox or like something of those paradoxes, Zeno's paradox. I think a good way of talking about it is let's say a sniper, right? He tries to take a shot, but he has to get confirmation from an officer, right, before he takes the shot. Well, that officer would have to get a confirmation from an officer, right? And then that officer would have to get confirmation from another officer, and it would just infinitely regress. Would it be the case that the sniper could take the shot?
All right. Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you see the
Okay.
absurdity of an infinite
Yeah. All
regress,
right.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. I understand. Right.
Cool.
Okay. Okay. Can you like what's it called?
Yeah.
All right. Can you go like restate the basis of your premise?
So either a beginning or no beginning. If no beginning is impossible, then it would have to follow that there's a beginning. But a beginning would entail something that was uncaused, or that wouldn't be a beginning. So if an uncaused causer would be the entailment, but an uncaused causer would also entail something that acted independent of causal relations, which seems to be defining into a will. But also, it would be ontologically prior to material and time, so it'd be non-temporal and immaterial, which seems to be the case. That would also follow that it doesn't have material limits. So it would be some kind of, well, not all powerful, but maybe, we can frame it in some way of omnipotence or something like that, right? And it would seem to be the case that it entails, well, like a god, but not like the Christian God, right? Just theism itself, right?
Mhm. Okay, cool.
So what's the rejection?
All right. Okay. I would agree with you that like what's it called? An infinite regress and what would necessarily be like absurd, right?
Okay.
I don't think that like an infinite time would be absurd.
You don't think an infinite time would be absurd? You think
No.
time, what do you think time is? What do you mean by time? I don't understand.
Okay. Well, I would say that like time is a measurement of uh
Yeah,
a causal chain or objects
perfect.
acting
But
in
if it
some sort of way.
so that why when I say an infinite time and it measures causal relations, then it would be the case that the causal relations would have to be infinite? Are you referring to preceding infinites or additional, or like additional succeeding infinites? And then I think there
Okay.
has to be a distinction made. Are you talking about potentially infinite? Because I would completely agree that it's potentially infinite, right? In the same case that, let's say that God were to sing a song every day, right? It would be the case that God, because he has always existed, he would have a potentially infinite um, amount of singing, but he would never gain it from just singing like every day. He would never get to that infinite. What we're talking about is actual infinites, which it seems to be the case is that it seems that there's no, like, we're not talking about a broad measurement, but what's happening in reality. Like, it would be the case that if I go to this is a very famous example. You go to, like a bookstore, but the bookstore is infinite, right? What I would if I check out a book, it would be the case that I never took. I mean, really, it would be the case that I didn't. That there would be no less books, right? Or that if I go to a hotel and I have to, all the manager has to do if all slots are filled, is just by It's just by moving everybody into the next room, because then not all slots would be filled, but also all filled. It just seems absurd to have actual infants, right? So I don't know what you mean by that, right? Like, I think things could be divided infinitely, and but that's all I mean. Like, one seems to be composed of infinite, but I wouldn't say that's an actual infinite.
Okay.
Yeah. So, what's the rejection to the cosmological argument?
I don't suppose in this case that I would have one.
That's fine. Now, again, in order to not be like intellectually dishonest, because I don't want to be that. I don't think the cosmological argument works. Problem
Wait,
is,
why?
because I accept that an infinite regress is just proceeding would be just a tense shift, and that there's no symmetry breaker. So if I agree that there's an infinite like going on, right? Like that there's an infinite succeeding, like we can have an infinite universe from a start, then it would seem to be the case that as long as I accept infinites altogether, it doesn't matter about the tense, because if there's an infinite future, an infinite past, you would have to demonstrate why that those things are actually different. Which I don't think I'm willing to accept in the realm of the philosophy of time, because it seems to be the case when I refer to an infinite regress. I don't actually make a distinction between that and infinite progress, right? I don't think there's actual distinction, because infinite seems to be a composition of all numbers. So I would actually disagree that we can have an infinite regress. I think we can have an infinite regress. And what I actually also think is, as long as you exist, you think the universe like started, you'd have to say by virtue that they can have infinite, it would have to end, right? So there had to be a symmetry breaker between the tenses, between past and future, which doesn't seem to be the case. So I would deny the argument out of that.
All right, cool.
Okay. You said you wanted to talk about agnostic and atheism.
Actually, in this case, I'll take theism.
You'll take theism.
Hmm.
You're a theist now.
Yeah.
Okay. So You want to? Okay, I guess I hold to atheism.
Wait. Okay,
So
cool. We can do that, I guess.
all right, sure. So why is it the case that you accept a God?
Well, I'm guessing that you already know this, but do you know I'm guessing that you already know about Christian presuppositional apologetics.
I'm very familiar with Christian precepts.
Okay.
What's
Do you
what's mhm.
what?
Oh no, go on.
Okay. Do you like have any refutation to it?
Yeah, I have many.
Okay, what would they be?
Well, seems to be the case that you can't have an independent abstract object, um, because you would
What do you
talk.
mean?
Well, an independent abstract object would be like God because he's not contingent. Okay, so this is talking about modal logic, right? So if we agree with the case that there are contingent things, such as like something could be the case or something cannot be the case. I think contingent is really weird in philosophy because contingent sounds like it's synonymous with the word necessary, but really in modal logic, it just simply means to be in a possible world and one not in a possible world. So that's what it means to be contingent. So when we talk about God not being a contingent thing, well, then you'd have to be concrete, which seems to be the case that did he just leave?
No, it's someone else.
Wait, hello? No, he
Oh,
did.
but he did leave. Fuck.
Okay,
Yo, my bad. I left VC on accident.
that's fine. So when we talk about like independent abstract objects, it would seem that like God would fall under that definition, that he has mental states, and that it seems to be the case that within modal logic, he wouldn't be contingent. It would fall back into necessitarianism, right? That God is necessary for all possible universes. But the problem now gets to is, well, how can a seemingly abstract object exist in a non-contingent state? Because when we talk about seemingly contingent things such as I don't know, like mental states like pain and pleasure, right? Because when we're talking about those, it seems to be the case that those cannot exist independent of anything else, right? But when we talk about God, it seems to be the case he's of the same category. Problem with that is that we can't say, because God is a bunch of mental states, we can't say the case that he would exist independent or he would exist as a necessary being, only a contingent being, right? And so it's problematic since he's upon that category. I feel like it'd be very hard to explain this argument. So maybe I just want to take a simpler approach. How about I just say the problem of evil? Do you think the problem of evil is like works at all, or do you think the
What
problem
do
of
you
evil
mean by the
doesn't work?
problem of evil?
Like if God is all good, and if you follow that up with that God created an imperfect world, then God cannot be all good.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that like by creating something imperfect that it would mean that he's not all good.
So it's good to create imperfect things,
Well, in the beginning, it was a perfect world, right? But
right?
we as humans chose to be imperfect.
Right. So, but God created us humans.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But
So He
he didn't
created
choose us.
beings.
Wait. Hang on a second. Do you think that it's evil to create a being capable of choosing to be imperfect?
Well, it seems to be the case that if it did happen, then yes,
Wait.
because
Hold on.
because God created a world
Wait.
that ended up, God created a world that ended up imperfect, and it was more morally perfect for God to when God just existed by Himself, right?
Wait. Hold on.
If God,
Hold on. I asked you the question. Do you think that it is
yeah, I
moral or
answered it.
like a... No. You told me since it is the case that it happened, then yes, okay? What if it didn't happen? The capability to choose between the two, do you think that like choosing which one to be is like the decider?
It doesn't seem to be the case that goodness would just diverge from God's nature, though, right?
Wait. Hold on. Okay,
Because
what do
I
you
don't
mean by
understand
goodness diversing from his nature? What do you mean by that?
the Euthyphro dilemma.
The Euthyphro dilemma?
Are you familiar?
Yeah, I am familiar. Is God is something good because God loves it? Is God love it because he's good?
Yeah, so it becomes the case that goodness is tautological, and you mean really nothing by goodness, or it's the case that good is like external and really something that no one understands, right? That's the
Okay.
horns of the Euthyphro dilemma. So you can
Okay,
say that
then I'll...
goodness. Yeah.
What? Continue.
So what's the horn you take?
Wait, hang on. You were saying something before that. What were you saying?
That was what I was saying. was the
Oh,
horn in the
okay.
tank.
Okay, well I would take the like God something is good because God says it is.
Something's okay. So you've gone the tautological approach, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it just seems to be the case that when we talk about goodness, it really means anything that God does, which just seems really weird. And it doesn't like God wouldn't, that's like, we're supposed to be saying that's what God's nature follows of, right? I thought like the whole point of saying that God's goodness, he follows goodness, right? But it seems to be the case that you're just saying God is goodness, which just seems to follow to be the case that if God did anything, it would be morally justified, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so if
What's the
God
problem with
created an
that?
imperfect world, then it would be morally justified for us to create an imperfect world, right?
Sure. What's the problem?
Okay. So then it would be the case that if I created stances that were less morally perfect, that would be immoral good. Yes?
Wait, hang on a second. Repeat that. I don't think I quite got
So
that.
if, so if God created something that would be imperfect,
Um. No, I
so
wouldn't say so.
well, if God did it and got whatever, surely if I do it, then it would be good.
Okay, I think there's a difference, like by divine right and what you would do, which is not divine right.
Wait, I just don't even know what you mean by goodness then. Goodness means
Okay.
nothing to us humans? Because I don't even think you mean goodness as anything then. You're just saying God's actions are God's actions.
No. I would say that God's actions are good, right? But I would say that we cannot repeat those actions.
But if I did God's actions, you just say that it wasn't right. Like I don't understand.
Yeah. God's actions alone are good.
Wait, I don't understand then. If I did God's actions, would I be good? So if I created an
No,
imperfect,
wait, hang on a second. I just
why?
told you that God's actions alone are good.
Wait, I don't understand what that means then.
Okay, I
When
would
you
say,
say
okay, look,
something is good, what do you mean by that? Are you just
okay,
referring? Because
hold
it
on,
seems to
hold on.
reduce that. No. What it reduced the goodness is God's actions. So all you're really saying is God's actions are God's actions, right?
Okay,
When you say God's
hold
actions,
on.
yeah,
Hold on, right? I would say that whatever God does is good, right? But then I would
yes.
also say, right, that whenever it comes to us human beings, that we can necessarily determine good, like what good would be for us for ourselves. I don't think that we can determine what good for God would be.
Wait, I don't understand. I'm not determining what's good for God. God determines what's good, I thought. Is it not the case? Are you
No.
taking a moral
Wait,
subjectivist approach?
hold on. Well, no. Okay, actually,
So
I guess
when
that you
God
could say
created the
that.
world and he saw that it was good, right? You would say that, well, it doesn't have to be good to us. Is that what you're saying? Or is it
Mm,
good objectively? Because it seems to be the case that this transcendental mind holds the proposition to be true that it was good. So
Okay, I don't think that you're understanding what I'm saying.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure it out. What are
Okay,
you saying?
cool. Okay, let me explain it, right?
Yeah.
God's actions, right? God's actions are good, okay? Right, okay.
Yes.
So whatever God does is
Yeah.
good, right? Okay,
Okay.
so
But if we
any
were to
wait,
replicate,
hold on. Let me finish.
holy
Okay?
shit. All right.
Any anything that God would do would be necessarily good, okay? So
Yes.
that swaps whenever we come down here to our materialistic
Yeah.
world,
Yeah.
right? Okay,
Yes.
cool.
Okay.
So what God's goodness
You're-
is
God's
just his
actions.
actions.
Yes. Okay. So how is that not a tautology?
Oh, wait, hang on a second. What do you mean?
Do you know what a tautology is?
Go on ahead and elaborate.
Tautology is to say the same thing twice. So what you're
Say the
saying
same thing
is,
twice.
yeah,
Sure.
so when you say goodness is God's actions and God's actions are goodness, you're saying that really God's actions are God's actions. There's
Yeah, sure. God's
nothing,
actions are God actions.
yeah, so you're not saying anything. You're not asserting anything,
But
right?
I think. Wait, hang on a
So when you
second.
say God is all good, you don't mean that in the sense that we mean by good, right? You're just like equivocating, right?
Okay, cool. Then I could just go as like far to say that like goodness in terms of God is redundant.
Yeah, so God's not morally good. I agree.
Wait. Hang on a second.
You
Hang
said it
on a
was
second.
redundant. So yeah, I agree.
No, 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 no.
That's my
No,
position.
wait. Hold on. God's actions, right, by our determination, not by His, would be redundant.
Wait, I
Is that
don't
what you're?
understand. I'm saying that when you say that God's goodness to God is redundant, That's because, by your definition, goodness is just God's actions. So it just seems to be the case that all you're saying is that God's actions are God's actions. And you said that's redundant, right? And I'm saying that it is. What goodness is, it seems to be. Are you saying, like, do you agree that goodness is independent of the mind? That goodness seems to be a quality of the world?
I would say that goodness is a quality of God.
Well, I just don't understand it because you just said God's actions is good. So I don't know how it's a quality of God then. Are you saying God's actions are a quality of God?
Hang on a second. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure that like somewhere. Hold on. I'm pretty sure that like somewhere like North said I conceded during this like without thinking it.
I mean, I think you did when you said it was redundant.
Yeah, I think I did too.
When you said it was tautological, it was pretty much over. Because you just
Yeah.
agreed that God's actions are God's actions, and you're not asserting anything about goodness. Because when I mean by something good, it seems to be a norm or standard that's applied to actions, not actions themselves.
Dude, oh my God, I got really, really confused with that last part because you just kept on saying like God's actions are God actions and God's actions are good. I got really confused, dude.
Well, when you define it out as goodness is defined as God's action.